Hey YouTube, I'm back this time with my unusually massive wax and home fragrance empties for the month of October 2018. I am just going to jump right in and get started because otherwise we would be here like seriously forever today. But yeah, the first thing that I do want to mention, or really the only thing I want to mention before I get started, is I'm really not going to get very detailed with my kind of post-use review of these, just because, like I said, we will actually be here forever. Like, you will celebrate your next birthday watching this video. So, like I said, I'm gonna jump right in and get started. I'm gonna start with my candles. So the very first thing that I finished up is, and I'll kind of scooch this back here, is my Yankee blueberry candle. I purchased a few of these at the semi-annual sale this summer because it is my favorite fragrance from Yankee ever. You guys know that in my apartment I am not allowed to burn candles, so I actually bought a candle crock and I put this in there. I was a little bit disappointed with the performance of that. I get that it's a Yankee, but in a crock I expected it to still do a little bit better. It lasted for maybe like 5 or 6 days, but the entire time it was kind of weak. So while I'm happy to have another one, I do wish that it would have performed a little bit better in the crock. The next thing that I used up is also another Yankee candle. This is a medium jar in the Cappuccino Truffle. I purchased this at Marshall's a couple weeks ago because I had had my eye on it. I thought that Cappuccino Truffle was okay. It was definitely a coffee chocolate fragrance. After a while, it started to smell kind of burnt and I got very over it, but I was okay with that because, you know, just kind of like with the Yankee, even in my crock, it just didn't do that well. It only lasted a few days. The next thing that I finished up is a Bath & Body Works candle in Cider Lane, and again, I'll move this back. And the wax popped out after I was done with it, but again, I did put it in my crock. I'm actually kind of glad that the wax popped out because I think that I'm going to use this during the future to hold like votive and tart wrappers. So yeah, I like Cider Lane. I will continue to repurchase it. This is probably the second or third year in a row that I purchased Cider Lane. I really like it, and so I will again repurchase it in the future. The next one that I finished up is another Bath & Body Works candle. This is in Blueberry Maple Pancakes. It was new from this year. I really like that fragrance. I think it has all the notes of the blueberry, the maple syrup, and kind of like a fluffy, buttery type pancake note to it. I will specifically seek it out during the candle sale, so hopefully I'll be able to snag one. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long in my crock. It was fine, like the strength was fine and the throw was fine. It's just that it only lasted a couple days, and my Bath & Body Works candles will usually last like 8 or 9 days. So I don't know, something was very up with it, but I think that Bath & Body Works did a good job with that candle this year, and I will repurchase them in the future. And then finally, the second, I guess the last 3-wick Bath & Body Works candle that I used up is this Rose Water and Ivy. Officially, I used it up today, so I guess in a way it's really a November empty, but I just didn't want to hang on to it for a month, so that's kind of why it's here. I like Rose Water and Ivy. Again, will repurchase it, and even though it lasted like 8 or 9 days, it was weak pretty much the entire time. It was very odd, so I will repurchase another one because I do want to give it a second chance, but if it's weak again, I probably won't repurchase it in the future, even though I do love the fragrance. So I'll probably just purchase it in soaps again. And then the very last candle I used up is this tester candle in Peach. It is just the same as Georgia Peach. I love that fragrance, and so does my boyfriend. This peach, even though it was a tester candle, it was stronger and lasted longer than my blueberry maple pancakes, which is kind of funny, but I'm okay with that because, like I said, I really love it. I will continue to repurchase tester candles because they perform generally pretty well. Like, even my gardenia candle from September was like harshly strong, and I love strong fragrances. It was crazy. So I'm definitely of the camp now that I don't even feel like I necessarily need to buy a 3-wick unless I really want to. If I find a tester that I'm really into, then I think I'll just repurchase that too. Okay, so that is it for my candles. Next, I'm going to go into my like clamshell wax. and I'll start with what I finished from Super Tarts. So the first thing that I finished from Super Tarts is the Super Tarts Originals. This is crisp spearmint leaves paired with clementine. Now, when I bought this, I bought it because I like citrus and I like spearmint. And I was thinking like, oh, maybe it's like a really refreshing, like earthy citrus. I don't know in what world this smelled like spearmint and clementine. To me, it smelled like a public bathroom. Like, I mean, granted, a clean public bathroom, but my God, still a public bathroom. I don't know what has possessed this item, but oh Jesus, I would steer clear of that always and forever. It actually made me feel sick. Like, I couldn't stand it. So, I mean, geez, tell us how you really feel, right? But seriously, like, no, I just will never do that again. No. All right, the next one I finished up is this No Ordinary Girl. This is coconut cream, vanilla oak, tangerine, and daisies. This, I'm guessing, is like an Alice in Wonderland. It had a nice blue wax. Something I noticed from Super Tarts, not that like I'm horrified by this, but the like plastic is really melty, soft. I don't know. Like, it didn't like break or leak or anything, but I was a little like concerned about this. So, yeah. I thought that No Ordinary Girl was fine. It just kind of smelled like a medley of fresh things, like just in general. I really couldn't pick out, well, I guess I can kind of pick out like oak and vanilla and like a creaminess, I guess, but the daisies and tangerines and coconuts, not so much. It was fine. I'm not horrified by it, but I thought it was very forgettable, so I wouldn't repurchase it. The next thing that I finished up, again from Super Tarts, is this Once Upon a Time Ruby. This is, let's see, Biolage, Blackberry Jam, and Cotton Candy Frosting. Same thing with No Ordinary Girl. I thought it was fine. I'm finding that I'm not really a Biolage person. Like, I just don't really care for the shampoo note. Not mad at it, but I can definitely move on with my life without it. I will not repurchase that. The next one is 28 Days Later. This is blueberry pumpkin patch cake batter, vanilla ice cream, and cranberry preserves. This one is fine. It's like a kind of like bakery creamy pumpkin spice type, I guess. Same thing, like, I appreciate these fragrances. I kind of like where Super Tarts is coming from. I'm just finding that in my usage of it, I just prefer kind of I wouldn't say basic or more run-of-the-mill, just simpler fragrances with not so many notes in it. So, like I said, I appreciate the effort and like the vibe behind Super Tarts, but for me personally, I probably won't repurchase a lot of these. And then the last one I finished up from Super Tarts is actually one that I will be repurchasing. I really enjoy this one. It's Orange is the New Black. It's orange juice, burnt marshmallows, and pomegranate. I had this one in my classroom. It was a favorite amongst faculty and my students, and yeah, it just smells like a really nice kind of orange juice candy type fragrance. I don't get much marshmallow fluff from it, but yeah, it's really juicy and like fruity and nice, so I probably will repurchase that one. And Orange is the New Black is probably my favorite wax that I bought from Super Tarts. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to, let's see, I'll do Better Homes and Gardens. The first one that I finished up is this Rainy Spring Day. This to me is a dupe of Bath & Body Works Rain Kissed Leaves, which I love. I like it in that sense. However, I was disappointed by how light it was. Even when I put 2 cubes into my warmer, it was still pretty light. However, because it's cheap and I could smell it if I put in 2 cubes, I will actually probably repurchase it again because I really do like Rain Kissed Leaves. Unfortunately, one that I will not repurchase is Cranberry Popcorn Garland. I purchased this really excited about it because I really love it on cold. And even now, if I smell the clamshell, I still love it on cold. But something about when it melts, I just can't vibe with the buttered popcorn thing. It just really comes across kind of sickening and I just can't deal with it. So I don't want to purchase it just to smell it on cold because to me that's kind of weird. So yeah, it's really unfortunate, but I will not repurchase it, which is such a shame because not only did it smell good on cold, but that's actually a really beautiful picture too. The next one I finished up is something I've had before. This is the French Lilac Flowers. It just smells like lilac. I am a florals fan and I really like it. I will repurchase it. The next one I used up is a value pack in Wild Berry Cheesecake. Again, something that I have repurchased over and over again. I really like it. Very kid-friendly, very boyfriend-friendly, good year-round. Love it. And then I also finished up 2 value packs in Vanilla Cookie Crunch. Just a staple for my classroom, especially if I want to tone something down with some vanilla. I always mix it with that. So yeah, I'm currently using Vanilla Bean by Sensationals because I wanted to try it out. But yeah, the Vanilla Cookie Crunch is also good too. And you're noticing here, by the way, that I kind of had a month of like using things up. My drawer of wax in my classroom was overflowing at the beginning of October, so I kind of made it my mission this month to finish up what I can so I can get that drawer under control. So that's why you're seeing such an unusually high volume of stuff this month. And the last Better Homes and Gardens wax clamshell that I used up this month is this blueberry bundt cake. This was delicious. I loved this one. I think that blueberry can be kind of poorly done sometimes, and while I found the blueberry to be a little bit artificial, like to me it kind of smelled like those gummy sharks, while I found it a little artificial, I thought the bakery note with that blueberry still was really lovely, and I really enjoyed it, and so did my boyfriend, so I would repurchase that if I found it again. All right, and next I'm going to move on to Sensationals. I have 2 in pumpkin apple muffins. Originally I had 1 at home and 1 in my classroom, but my kids complained sometimes that this one was too strong and that they couldn't concentrate as well because it was so strong. So while I personally loved it, I did wind up bringing 1 of them home just so my kids could do what they need to do during the day. So yeah, while I love pumpkin apple muffins, I would not melt it in my classroom again just for their sake. And then the last Sensationals clamshell I used up this month was Hello Sunshine. This is the second time that I've had this. It suggests that it's, well, it's a picture of a flower, but yeah, it says citrus zest. It is very citrusy. I actually liked it the first time, but this second time that I've had it, I just felt like it smelled a little bit like BO, which was kind of weird. But I know that some of us sometimes kind of get that vibe from citrus. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the deal is, but yeah, I personally would not repurchase it, and I found that I was getting through it just for the sake of getting through it because I wanted to be done. Okay, so moving on, I finished up what I had from Scentsy, and granted, I didn't have much, but I did in recent months kind of purchase a couple Scentsy items just to try them out and see if I liked the brand in general. The first thing that I used up is a Scentsy bar in Sweet Plum Pastry. I don't know if it's like that this is old because you can see it's kind of yellow, but Sweet Plum Pastry to me smelled, or at least that one smelled like plastic. I mean like new shoe plastic. It was so not good. And I hear people rave about it all the time. So I think I may purchase it in like one of those bring back my bar clamshells, like so I can get a newer one, because maybe, like I said, it's just old because the plastic is really yellowing. But yeah, it just smelled like plastic. It was so bad. And I was kind of thinking there's no way that the masses love something that smells like this. So I am going to try it again, but if I find in the future that I don't like it again, then I'm just going to call it good with that. The next thing that I finished up is a Coastal Strawberry in Scentsy. I also have heard really good things about that. I enjoyed it for the most part. I thought it was kind of light, even when I would put in multiple cubes. But yeah, even on cold, it's pretty, like when I smelled the container, yeah, it's pretty light. I appreciate it for what it is. It's like a green strawberry, if that makes sense. But like I said, just like some other things here, I just don't feel like I really need these things to move on with my life and be like a whole person. Speaking of Scentsy, I also tried the last of the little like sample packs I've gotten. I bought a sample in the whipped vanilla pear that I popped out and tried. I thought it was fine. Again, not something that I really feel like I need to move on. I tried also tomato vine. This one was one of my favorites from the samples I tried. It is not the same, at least not in my opinion, as Bath & Body Works' tomato vine, but it's good enough for me. However, I feel like I really don't need it to, you know, move on. I also tried this fresh cut daisies. To me, it smelled like yellow dandelions. It was fine, but not something I was in love with. And then finally, Posy Peach, just kind of like a generally waxy, plasticky, like floral fruit. I guess it was not that good. So from Scentsy, I'm kind of finding that probably the only way I'll purchase it is if I'm at some kind of like expo or like some kind of market and there's someone selling Scentsy like in real life that I can kind of try before I buy, like then I'll try it. But I'm just finding that overall Scentsy kind of seems to have like a body care vibe to me, and I have body care on my body, so I would rather have less perfumey things in my apartment. So like I said, just like with the Super Tarts, I appreciate the vibe that Scentsy has, but personally I think I'm pretty good with like my Walmart wax and my Bath & Body Works and my Yankee. And finally from Scentsy, I got just like this little sample in, let's see, this was Sun-Kissed Citrus. It was a fine orange fragrance, but nothing that I found to be really unique. All right, so lastly, and I'm telling you, I feel like I'm running a marathon right now. I just got some Yankee to go over. So yeah, this is a votive, or it was a votive in Yankee Berrylicious. I really enjoyed this. I chop votives in half in my class and melt them in my warmer. My kids really enjoyed Berrylicious. They were asking all day when I had them like what it is, and I asked them if they liked it, and they said yes. It just kind of generally smells like dark berries and then like a pastry type note, and I will repurchase that again. I really enjoyed it. I also finished up another favorite of my students, a tart in this Cafe Al Fresco. It just smells like a cappuccino. I really love it. During October, my students had a writing assignment where they had to identify their favorite smell and write about it and tell me why it was their favorite. I actually had a student choose this cappuccino wax. So yeah, my kids are always asking me when I'll melt it next, so I definitely will be repurchasing it. The next three that I finished up are two, it's kind of like weird to hold it here. So two, come on, Tarts, and also a votive in Forbidden Apple. I had those in my classroom, and Forbidden Apple is like a green apple and ivy type fragrance. My kids thought it was fine. They definitely get more into like fruity, pastry, coffee type stuff, but I did have a few who said that they liked Forbidden Apple. I don't think that Forbidden Apple is really that kid friendly, but I personally like it, so I'll continue to repurchase it, probably just for my apartment though. The next thing that I finished up was a votive in Berry Trifle. I have one more in my classroom right now. My kids back in Kansas and here in Virginia really like Berry Trifle, and yeah, they're always asking me what it is, and I tell them it's a berry trifle, but naturally they don't know what a trifle is, so I have to explain that to them, and it's a whole nother thing. Okay, next I have a votive in Strawberry Lemon Ice, another one of my favorites from my kids. Again, I will repurchase it. It's a like definite win for me. I love Strawberry Lemon Ice. Next, I've got a votive in Luscious Pumpkin Trifle, just kind of like your general pumpkin spice, creamy type fragrance. I thought it was nice for what it was, but I don't feel like I need to repurchase it. But my kids liked it. I also finished up a votive at home in Sweet Seduction. I have heard of this one, and I know it's been out for a few years, but I've never personally tried it, so I just wanted to. To me, it smelled like really light vanilla pudding, and you know, I feel like I could get that from anything. So while I didn't dislike it, I will not repurchase it. I just don't feel like I really need to. The next thing, and I'm almost done, I swear I'm 20 minutes in. The next thing that I finished up is another votive in Sugared Pumpkin Swirl. Again, kind of like the Luscious Pumpkin Trifle. It's just like a, I don't know, like creamy pumpkin spice, you know, whatever. I feel like I've kind of reached my pumpkin spice threshold for 2018. So I'm just kind of like getting through it. My kids thought it was fine, but yeah, whatever. Next is a votive in Coconut Beach. I use this at home. This is the second time that I purchased Coconut Beach and was really not happy with the strength and throw of it. So while I like it on cold, when I have my nose right up to it, I won't repurchase it, which is really sad because it is a good fragrance. The next one that I finished this one up at school. This is a votive in Bahama Breeze. It's a pretty light blue color, and it's just like a tropical drink is how I describe it to my kids. So I like it, and they liked it too and asked me if I would purchase it because they know I get these from Yankee. And then finally, the very last thing that I used up is a votive in Poached Pear Flambe. I used this up at home. It was just like a fruity pumpkin spice kind of whatever, a little bit forgettable type of wax. I'm really glad that I tried it because I have had my eye on it this year, but I don't feel like I need to repurchase it, so yeah. All right, so we have made it. That is my marathon and my mountain of used up wax. Like I said, kind of unusual this month, but I made it my mission to use up things I wasn't really passionate about, and then I just have other things that I really enjoyed too. So that's why I've got such a an undertaking of a video here. My November wax empties will slow down, but they'll definitely still be a video in and of themselves. So if you're interested, please make sure, as always, that you like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at YellowBrickExpat, same way it's spelled here. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.